Fox here. So, today we're going to review College Football 25, the first return for the series in over a decade here. And overall, I really like it. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. We're going to go through everything, the good, the bad, the ugly that's going on in this. We'll give like final grades for every single mode. Then we're going to go through Ultimate Team, Road to the College Football Playoff, Dynasty, Road to Glory, that kind of stuff. The biggest thing that I am kind of seeing is like this game, it really depends on how you decide to play it, whether it's offline or online, and the game does, I guess, benefit more from playing it in certain ways than others, and we'll get into that as we get into the review. So let's go ahead and start off with the top. College football is back, and you know, you could have played college football revamp, but having it from a first party title on console hits a little different. Now, obviously, everybody didn't have PCs, and this game's not on PC, so PC players are still playing revamped, or they've bought a whole new console. And I've known people and I've heard of people doing that just to play the game. And, you know, I am actually having an incredible blast, so I hope those people are too that decided to invest that much. So college football being back, awesome. The atmosphere is chef's kiss, especially in game. No matter what tunnel you're going down from Notre Dame to Pitt, the atmosphere across the nation, I know it is something they really dedicated, put a lot of time into it, and you can tell it is amazing. From, you know, those Mo Bamba moments on down to watching the band across the field. They really succeeded. I know they tried hard. Good job at EA in that. I have had a blast with the Dynasty. I'm not saying it's perfect, but in my personal experience, I've loved it, okay? Road to Glory, haven't played it longer than like an hour right now, so I'm not going to rank it very high in my review as far as a percentage to the final grade. I feel like it didn't hook me as much as I hoped it had. Now, maybe that's something that I'll circle back to on later. But the fact that I only played it like, you know, like an hour, maybe even less. I actually don't know. I played it on stream a bit too. Maybe it missed that je ne sais quoi. Is that a word? I don't know. The French. It might have just been that. So like I was a little more disappointed than I thought at it. But I thought it was good overall. Okay. I like the different options starting off, whether you're going to be a 5-star all the way down to 2-star, what program, that kind of stuff. I really like that Road to Glory stuff, and I hope they do improve on that. We'll talk about that going forward. The gameplay's faster than Madden. Madden is at a bad spot right now as far as they've gone trying to go more sim, quote unquote, but making it more realistic. But in the end, like, I just prefer kind of maybe it's the more arcadey feel of faster gameplay. I feel this way in other sports games too that are too stiff and stuff. And I go back to playing NHL, and modern NHL games are very stiff and it's very annoying to play versus the classics of our youth. All right, stick control of players. Overall, it's better, but there is a little bit of wonkiness as far as like pre-play movement. Sometimes you guys will get stuck just running a line of scrimmage. That's annoying. I guess that should go in the bad section. But stick control of players, like I said, faster gameplay. I like the control on defense. It's not amazing, but it's more responsive than Madden, which I like. More playbooks than Madden, more depth, more things to do. More innovations, differences. Switch stick was a huge change this year. Route stems, better standard hot routes. These things they added to the game to make it more enjoyable to play, to allow you to customize how you play. Switch stick is like, if you don't know switch stick, like playing online, it's something that you're going to want to be able to use. It's the best way of stopping the pass game, right? Like you're going to want to have good solid run defense, set that up with your formation and stuff, and then utilize switch stick in order, if they pass, just to like cover different sides of the field and throw off other user reads. We talked about route stems, being able to stem your corner routes all the way down. Those are really powerful. Stem up deeper like posts for like coverage beaters. So much you can do with route stems. Not every route can be stemmed, but a lot of the ones you think of can. Custom audibles being saved. They promise that's coming. They promise it's coming in Madden too. O-line slide and identification. Who they're blocking. That update is amazing. I will say it's brought about a little bit of wonkiness and stuff, but it's nice to be able to identify that stuff just overall. As far as like, hey, I got this guy picked up, and because like some of these blitzes are like really affecting you, especially out of the double A gap mug, because like the user goes ahead and takes up one of the blockers because they're identified there. So like, I know the user's not coming. I wish I could like ignore a guy on my offensive line. There's also like a pretty meta blitz where you crash your entire defense in, and it overall just like kind of like filters through. So some way of pinching your offensive line would be nice. I don't know if that's in the game. but it hasn't been in Madden for years, and I don't think I've seen that in the menu. Now, off the top of my head, I'm like, is that in the game? I don't think it is. Dynamic crowds are really cool. So is home field advantage. Like offline, which is where you'll see this, like it is so different. And during my first year in the Pitt Dynasty, which is up on this channel, going to Penn State, like not being able to do anything out there, like as far as like a hot routing and audible. I had like a freshman quarterback, like the receivers couldn't hear, the crowd was jumping, it was popping. I absolutely loved it. And the differences between playing at home and the road, just like in real life, are dramatically separated. So incredible job on that, bringing that difference in gameplay and that importance to the offline atmosphere. Now online, it's not as bad, which I definitely agree. Online away versus home should not be as dramatic as it is offline, or in Dynasty. I guess you have online dynasties out there. Kneeling down means kneeling down. I guess I should put an L in there. The game auto ends if it's mathematically done. Really cool feature of quality of life. Wear and tear is cool, especially in Road to Glory. We'll talk about a little bit more wear and tear going forward. Road to the College Football Playoffs, cool reinvigoration of regs. Something to play for and drive for. I thought it was a really good idea and a really good job. I know the locking teams in the playbooks have been controversial. The new mini games, there are new ones. It's cool. I'm not a big mini game guy. I always thought the mini game love that we saw online was mostly due to nostalgia. Yeah, I mean, some people do have fun. Like, I'm not gonna like sit here and be on Judgment Mountain saying you can't have fun playing mini games in the game, but it just doesn't tickle my jolly. Which I'm like, that's why I said cool. You know, I like the addition. They're in road to glory and stuff. You'll utilize the mini games to make your player better. But overall, like, I wish you could like repeat them, right? Like, I just ended up running the option one over and over because it was the easiest one. So I don't know. Mini games, some are easier than others, which in like Road to Glory makes you kind of spam one. I don't know how they fix that. That's their problem, not mine. Bad. All right. So that was the good. Like overall, like I'm saying, amazing. I know people don't like to hear about the overall goods on reviews, and like you don't want to hear me gush and guzzle the game too long. You want to hear, hey, what can be improved? All right, so let's go to the bad right here. Dynasty sim issues. That includes top end teams with talent losing too much. Maybe we've seen this with Alabama losing a quality coach, and then the program kind of declines. Saban, Bear Bryant, same thing, right? Maybe an Alabama person, but like overall, I think it has to do with the Madden sim engine and them not wanting to offend a lot of the players whose overalls they don't want to share like an NIL. Like say they make a freshman like 20 overall their freshman season, which they might be just fresh out of high school without college training, without putting on their freshman 15. The separation between like a low end program player and an Alabama like junior Heisman about to win that trophy, it's gonna be that separate. Whereas like in Madden, like we have the same ratings. Like the worst teams are in the 70s and the best team are in the 90s. Like so the fact that a lot of teams are similar, and in Madden it's much closer. Like any given Sunday's the name, and it's not any given Saturday, which obviously upsets can happen, but it's much rarer in college football. So there are some Dynasty sim issues that people are starting to see, which maybe like they'll fix their sim engine just with like the overalls, or they'll fix it where it's more dramatic between them. I don't know what they're gonna do. Factor in abilities a little bit more, since Alabama and those top end teams have more abilities, which are a little more depth to the menus as far as presentation. In game is awesome though. Like so, in game, like I talked about on the top of the show, amazing atmosphere, that kind of stuff. The menus are really cool, but by like depth of the menus, I guess I kind of get into this a little bit more deeper as the review goes on. I think I'm going to talk about that. I'm not going to kind of lead the presentation of the menus is really good. Like it's really cool seeing all this stuff. I'm just begging for more, man. Begging for more. Give it to me more. Like in Dynasty and stuff. Make it more like real, if that makes any sense. Dynasty is really nice. Don't get me wrong. Continuing, I don't know how you do it, like how you'd make Dynasty presentation better, but there's things you can do. Like I know on Road to the Football or Road to Glory, you get a bunch of texts. I know people online were complaining about not having like calendars and stuff. Oh, spoilers for Pittsburgh, by the way. Maybe I shouldn't be showing those off. on this video. Okay, we're doing okay. Let's go ahead and quit that. No exporting to Madden. Very disappointing. I know they couldn't do it due to NIL deals, is what they said, because they don't have a sign for the pros. But it would be nice if, like, at the start of your franchise, you could generate fictional rosters next year and allow you just to run fictional rosters in order to generate them and then to take those to the NFL. I think that would be the best solution for it. You can't edit players in NCAA also due to NIL, but for some reason the same contracts in Madden you can, or that's not the same, but like the player likeness contracts in Madden they have with the NFL Players Association you can edit. So like yeah, probably just the differences in the rights that they're signing away for the NIL versus the Player Association. Online, the run game is overpowered due to bad defense. Run leverage, play rec, pursuit. It is brutal out there. Like, I'm not sure how much longer they'll keep beating top end dudes running Wildcat power because we're finding Wildcat defense. Like, I found just running 3 deep and run committing, like 3 deep man coverage, man up 3 deep and just run committing, stopped the Wildcat a little bit. But the fact that, like, I couldn't go to a 3-4 or 4-4 stack the box and stop them effectively was very annoying. The fact that, like, everybody got hooked, you got outside. Like I talked about in the point below, outside runs are crazy because of how bad run leverage players, like the defensive linemen, just get hooked. Like the ratings don't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a tight end with like 50 run block against like 90 block shit outside linebacker. The interaction is going to happen. It's going to happen long enough that the guy's going to get the edge and he's going to get around it and get into your secondary. And you just got to hope your safety is going to make the tackle or pursuit's going to tackle him. But we talked about how bad pursuit is. So there's the problem is like the run leverage, the play rec on defense has been brutal in Madden for years. And it's sad to me, even though they talked about in their pre-game hype that pursuit was updated, it's actually worse than I've ever seen it in my life. Now some of it might due to be bad ratings on pursuit, but I don't know. This is like Pee-wee football, like bad, even worse when you see some of these lowlights on the field. There are obviously other glitches. Double pass, there's a pass that a Wildcat makes all your zones run the line of scrimmage. You can throw it over the top for an instant touchdown. There's like you can like aim down on the kicking meter. For you guys know this. For the members of this channel, become a member, please. We'll get you ebooks, glitches, all that good stuff. You can like aim at certain places, and the AI won't be able to pick up the kickoff. All right. Zones are still traffic cones too often. Let players cross their face, like the #1 rule that you shouldn't do. So the fact that they don't recognize routes near their zone is frustrating a lot. And the worst is like, you guys ever put a deep zone in the end zone? They sometimes run out of the end zone. I don't know why. They should be standing. They shouldn't even go past a yard towards the end zone. But like their feet end up out of. It's the same thing they have in Madden. I don't know why they code them this way. And then like the sidelines, they don't get played very well at the end zone. Even prior to the end zone, the sidelines for some reason, even though the quarterback's rolling out, the wide receiver's running that way, they'll like squeeze in at times. It makes no sense whatsoever. So zones, even though man coverage is getting tossed and burned a lot, zone ain't great defense either. So like the only way you can play online defense is by switch sticking, which obviously if there weren't switch stick, this would be a whole different game. Thank goodness for switch stick because that's really the only way a lot of people are stopping top end offenses. Abilities also look to be insane. Cut's gonna get crazier. Like you guys ever seen like those highlights online of what Junkins out of Ohio State and regs? The spins, the movement that he can do in this game are at a different level. Wild. I'm sure some defensive abilities will step up. A pass reaction looks okay at the bronze level. I really use it at higher levels. The first step that you have on defensive linemen, whatever that quick jump ability is, I believe it's called, it makes blitzes actually work. So that's like one way of finding defense. Like the quick step on your defensive ends make the 3-3-5 blitz actually go crazy and get around the edge. So like the abilities themselves change the fundamental gameplay so much that I'm not necessarily in love with that thing. Like they talked about abilities not being that powerful, but I watched these abilities. Dude, they put an ability in the game where you can see your see the defense blitz in the plays. It's stupid. I don't know why they went so hard into abilities. I know they're fun, make players crazy, but I would rather just the players be crazy based off ratings and fun arcade gameplay that way. more than like, because a casual's not going to know what an ability is, but a casual can see 99 agility is going to make this guy go boing, 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 back and forth. But now it's not going to be boing, boing, boing unless they have this ability, but it doesn't matter what the agility is until that as much. Audibles don't save sometimes. They said they're going to add custom audibles. That's nice. Drop picks, for some reason, drop picks are still in the game, and online and offline gameplay, totally okay. Online gameplay, it should be competitive. Don't know why we got drop picks out here where it's just hitting them in the hands. Like, your DBs, like, they got, I don't know, too much butter, I guess. The churning between plays and getting all slippery. And then the defensive linemen hang on the picks. It's weird. Fumble recoveries are weird too. But still don't know why. Like, the fact that they added red passes into this game frustrates me beyond belief. Passing and making reads is hard enough. Then you got to time it and blue it, or else it's going to randomly miss at times. It's just overall frustrating and bad game design. Like, you want your game to be fun, not frustrating. The fact that they saw 2K, the entire 2K game is timing up shots, okay? But for a football game where there's so much more going on the screen, like, stop making us time our passes. Let me throw a bullet pass, and then if it's inaccurate, it's because my quarterback's got 67 pass accuracy. Okay, I can understand that. But an online game, if I got good pass accuracy, stop making me miss them. Like, I can see what they put in the game, and I really agree with their take on, like, hey, if it's a bad accuracy throw, he kind of has to, like, reach behind him to get it. He has to reach in front of him to get it. That, okay. But the fact that they just sail it randomly on important downs in online competitive environments, I don't like that. Like, again, online and offline are different. So the fact they added a timing mechanic to the game where it wasn't needed or wanted and it only adds frustration and angry people where they don't deserve to miss the passes is frustrating overall. So it's not something they've added for fun. There's no reason they added it whatsoever. It doesn't help balance out the game whatsoever. It's just overall frustrating and bad game design in my opinion, and it pisses me off just thinking and conceptualizing why they do that. Right? It's not 2K. Stop trying to be 2K. Coach suggestions an offense is bland. They call a lot of the same plays. It's okay, but defensively, the playbooks are still limited. No D-line twists. I mean, they took them out 10, 12 years ago out of Madden and NCAA, and we haven't seen them since. Maybe even longer, maybe 15 years ago. Yeah, the meta's kind of set as far as it's mug formations, 3-3-5, or it's like the 3-3 penny, I think it's called, or a double A gap, and that's like the meta's kind of set. Like, I wish it allowed us to have custom playbooks to design our own defenses. I don't know. I think it'd be more fun long term to be able to like put your stamp on your playbook. There's no tutorial. In a game that like they were like selling consoles to people, an insane amount of hype online on new people that haven't played a football game in a long time. A long time. Like, I have a friend that hasn't played Madden in a long time either. I don't know how many years, didn't ask. He's texting me about this game. He's like, hey, there's no tutorial here? Like, a tutorial has been in Madden for years. Just copy, paste, throw new uniforms on. I know it's harder than that. I get it. But, man, what a kind of missed opportunity. I know there's some slight tutorials in Ultimate Team, but that's not a replacement for the actual tutorial. AI issues are plenty on the O-line still. Between run blocking, pass blocking is pretty bad too. But that's always been that way. Cut. Boring. Bad pack odds. Bad packs. Sets. They're not great. They're not fun. Where's my 81 plus pack? Give me a FIFA set. One of them. It's the exact same thing as MUT. It was the most Control-C, Control-V thing I've ever seen in my life. And there's fewer rewards for like winning Super Bowls and stuff. 250 house rules wins for an 87 overall. Insane. Cut is a major L right now. The only W they have is that they're putting in like Lamar Jackson and other top-end NFL players and bringing hype that way. Everything else was a major L. The Cut team has done such a bad job. They've been so poor. It's crazy. It's crazy how lazy I've seen them. Tons of bugs. Where's solo battles in Cut? They took that out because it was glitched. Why haven't they brought it back unglitched? Player likenesses are really bad. Quarterbacks, Pat White was a righty for the like a day, and then like players the wrong skin tone too. Like, they look nothing like them. The lack of attention to detail is crazy. Like, there must be like 2 people total on Ultimate Team. Which, I mean, they did say they put in most of their effort into Dynasty, so they didn't lie. But Ultimate Team is just an utter disaster. Like, it's about as bad as an Ultimate Team could be. Like, what's just crazy with the amount of revenue they drive from that, you think they'd care more. It's just, it's literally, like, embarrassingly bad how bad their Ultimate Team has been so far. And I was very generous with the ranking in the final ranking of Ultimate Team. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know where they had their previous play under what. Like, I don't know why. Like, previous play art, which has been on the screen for a lot of these noobs that are entering the game. Now you get hit right stick to see it. Bad design. Help the noobs out. For like offline, you can turn previous play off for online play. I don't care. I actually prefer that. Changes to seeing abilities is much worse. Like, there's a bunch of icons on the screen. In Madden, you can see the names on the top of the screen when you looked at people, but in this game, it's like, oh, here's a tiny diamond. I think is that like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's either a panther smoking a cigarette or a mime trying to get out of a box, and I can't tell. I can't tell what's going on. It's too small, and I even sit pretty close to my monitor. Yeah, wear and tear in the field's hard to figure out too. You got to go to your depth chart for something that's like advertised and a huge big thing in the game. Why is it so hard to figure it out? I don't get it. I don't like it. I will say one criticism that I don't agree with, even though it's in the bad section, it should be like, I'm fine with it. I think the bad thing is this part. People are mad about like Road to Glory not being able to audible around as a quarterback, as like a good quarterback and stuff. But like, there are many professional quarterbacks that can't audible, that aren't allowed to audible by their offense coordinators. They're very much more hands-on. The Matt Canada experience is reminiscent of this to me, but like, the game should probably explain that if their offense coordinator is controlling type to not allow people to audible and Road to Glory. Yeah, and then Road to Glory not have high school is a major miss also, but maybe in a future installment. The ugly. Only a few things before we get to final grades. Player reported game crashes all the time in like every single mode. I know some of them are overheats, but too many crashes. Dynasty staves weren't able to be loaded for a bit. I don't know what's going on with that. Some people lost them. I'm just playing Dynasty as offline Dynasty now. I don't want to worry about being online. And for server outages, we've had a lot of those. And then various other small bugs throughout the game mode. Like in Dynasty, having to back out and go back in just to be able to schedule visits on recruits because it's glitching out. So those are kind of like the ugly things. But overall, final grades. So I went through a whole lot of bad. And I apologize for having to highlight so much bad. But like I said at the top, I want to reiterate, I'm having a blast and a half, okay? So final grades. Gameplay, which ranks 50% of the final game review score. Offline, 9.5. Love the gameplay offline. I play on Heisman difficulty. The pass rush is fierce. I can't block a soul. We play a lot of West Coast style offense, but my offensive line's also like in the 80s-ish. And yeah, going against Alabama was not fun. But online, because of the meta, because of all the things that are like the glitches in the game, between blitzes, between the run game being overpowered, zones doing nothing, man coverage is fine. I'm fine with man coverage being whatever. Random misses on passes, pass lead, like the new revamped passing system sucks. Online gameplay is worse. Like, this is gonna be crazy. Worse than Madden 24. Online gameplay in College Football 25, disaster. It's sadly a step down from probably all the way till Madden. I mean, it's not worse than Madden 20. So it's probably better than a lot of the metas we've seen, but it's pretty bad. I'd say it's right down there. And I wouldn't say it's in the bench press meta of 20 was at 1. That got patched within 2 weeks though. Let's just say it's not great. It's been a few years since we've seen a Madden gameplay online this poor. So I'm very disappointed with the online balance of this game and what I've seen so far out of it. And it's only going to get worse if we find more things. But moving on, Dynasty 8.5. I just wish there was a little bit more depth to the Dynasty other than recruiting and playing the games. Always be recruiting. I wish there was a little bit more atmosphere, like I talked about in these menus in Dynasty. A little bit more, I don't know about, I think like things to do would be cool. And hopefully they add more things and more depth to the RPG elements of it going forward. So Dynasty 8.5, which is still a pretty good rating. I'm having a blast in it. Road to Glory. Like I said, I was a little less hooked than I thought it would be for the Road to Glory. I still gave it an 8 because I recognized the potential of it and how quality it can be. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe I started as I started as a bad recruit in a bad spot, and maybe that kind of tilted my less than fun factor. Maybe should have started like as like a 3 or 4 star instead of a 2 star. Cut. It's only 10% of the final grade. I give it a 5. I felt a 5 is very generous. Very, very, very generous. I'm baking in a little bit of cut getting better through the year as far as promos and content and stuff. But as far as cut stands right now, it's close to a 1 or a 2. Maybe I should have rated it a 1 or a 2. It's bad. It's by far the worst part of this game, which is sad. Usually Ultimate Team Game modes is like the most addicting, and it's still addicting. It's just poorly done. I'm still playing it, but it could be so much better. Atmosphere. In-game, it's this 10% of the final grade. It's a 10. In-game, 10 out of 10. Love it. Out of game, 9. Like I said, I want a little bit more on the presentation's sake in the menus. A little bit more. I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more though. More of that atmosphere. Music, I didn't listen to it. I always turn soundtracks off. It's part of creating content. So I'm gonna give it 0% of my final grade. Didn't even rank it. Graphics, 9.5. Love the graphics. Like watching some of this, like from a distance, I don't need graphics that much better. Like a 10. What is a 10 out of 10 graphics? Literally looking in a mirror, like outside, like they're great. No notes. Maybe obviously the cut team is lazy, but I can't put the graphics team at fault for the cut team not getting their likenesses right when they put out Legends or any card, or like active NFL players. They're messing up. So that's not the graphics team, but like overall, like yeah, sure there's some wonky cheerleader faces, but I don't know. Are you guys really looking to be attracted to in-game cheerleaders? There's the internet out there. Okay. Road to the college football playoffs. I'm gonna give it a 10. I like the innovation on regs. 10 out of 10, no notes. I know, like I talked about above, a lot of controversy around locking in your playoff for your team. Yeah, I think the overall mode, 10 out of 10. Well changed. Mini games. It's a 1% of the final grade. I don't really care that much about them. I'm still gonna give them a 9. They added a bunch of Madden. They brought in some new stuff. Dodging flying balls. Really good nostalgia trip. What they should have done is put in the old nostalgia graphics. That would have been a neat little trip down memory lane. Maybe in a future game they'll put like NCAA, I don't know, 01 as like a playable game inside of the game. Copy and paste it. I don't know, do they even have that ability to do that? So final grade, final sum, 7.92 with all the percentages and numbers added up. We'll give it an 8. I feel like an 8 is almost too low, right? Mathematically it's an 8, but that's because of cut. But if you play the game, okay, so if you play the game offline, Dynasty, like we're looking at 9.5, 8.5, a 10 for the atmosphere, graphics 9.5. You're playing, well, you only play mini games in Road to Glory, but like that's like a 9 plus if you're playing this game Dynasty offline. What really brings us down the review, sadly, is because I had to add cut in. I had to add the online gameplay to the overall experience. So it's a completely different game, depending on how you choose to engage in it. So it's hard to give it one final number. It's a large game. I think overall EA did a really good job on it. I am not going to fault them for a lot of things they should be ironing out. I know it took like an extra year, more than we wanted, but still, overall, like on my gut, like I said, I'm gut fox. 9 out of 10, mathematically 8 out of 10. So that's the final review. Bye. Please like, become a member, please. Bye-bye.